everyone. Welcome back to another episode of SASEtalk. This is episode 12, and this week we are going to be talking about spring success. And with me, your host, I have two wonderful, very handsome individuals, Eric and Nathan, joining us for this session. How you guys doing? How you feeling?
Feeling pretty hot today. How about you? Looking pretty cute today, Nathan.
Why, thank you. I'm feeling cute today.
Well,
Absolutely.
no one can be as hot as you, Nathan. No one be as cute as you. But yeah, no. How you guys feeling? We are, as of right now of this recording, we are 1 day away from restarting school. No, the spring semester is going to start tomorrow. We have less than no, we have more than 12 hours, I'd say. But nearly half a day later, we will all be stuck in classes again. How are you guys feeling about that?
I'm hyped.
You're hyped.
I'm hyped.
You're hyped.
The dawn of a new online semester.
Oh boy.
So much to look forward to.
Yeah. How you feeling, Nathan?
Yeah, I don't know. Just trying to take it a little bit easier this semester. Taking Chinese 1.
Okay.
I haven't learned Chinese in a very, very long time, and like my parents, they aren't very helpful. So I'm kind of excited to take that class.
To touch the roots.
Yeah, touch the roots.
Yes, sir.
Perfect, right? So let me ask you a little bit more on that. Like, what kind of classes are you taking this semester? Because Nathan, you are in the same boat as I am, right? I would presume you are in your final semester of your undergraduate study, and in what, 4 months' time, you will be getting the heck out of here. You will be graduating. At least, no, knock on wood. No, we will be. So how does your schedule look up? Like, what is it looking like? You know, class-wise, workload-wise, your final semester at RPI. What are you feeling?
So, I mean, in the terms of like the number of credits, I am kind of on a bit the higher end right now, but I feel like I'm gonna drop 1 or 2 of my classes. But just like taking engineering classes and stuff that I'm interested in. I haven't been able to fit Chinese 1 anywhere else in my schedule, so I think like that's kind of like a change, from previous semesters where it was just like, oh, I'll just get as many core courses, engineering courses as I can. Now I can finally take something that's a bit interesting. Not something that I have to take, but something that's interesting. But I mean, other than that, I'm still doing research, so that's some extra, time commitment outside of normal classes. And workload-wise, like that's gonna be pretty much same old. But yeah, right now I just want to see how the first week of class goes, and make some decisions right after that.
Right. I mean, well, hopefully, the first week of classes will not destroy us. It should be syllabus readings, but I am already getting emails from my professors to read 7 chapters from a textbook I cannot find online, so things are looking swell. Eric, now, you are a second semester sophomore who is somehow, by credit, you are a senior. So what the heck is going on with you? Tell me what's going on.
I want to say that this is broken because on every single page it lists me as a senior and it gives me the option to graduate. However, I have not even satisfied my core engineering classes yet, so I don't understand how that's a problem. But I don't know. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of broken. But anyway, and going on a topic with Nathan was saying, I'm taking a pretty heavy semester. As we've gone into more online courses, I've decided to overload it a little bit more. I'm a mechanical engineering major, so some of the classes I'm finishing up on are like stuff like, Inventor Studio for your design course. I'm starting some labs. I have thermal fluids engineering lab and CSL, which is control systems lab. I'm also throwing in some for fun classes like a computational math class here. I'm also taking both professional development classes for engineers. So that's PD2 and PD3. And so yeah.
Well, that sounds painful.
Looking like a pretty spicy
That sounds
semester.
painful. Nathan, I remember when we would need to cram down courses just to just to be able to fit everything in. And that was hard to do, right? 20 credit semesters, 24 credit semesters, that was just not fun. Uh, I mean, one of the benefits, me, Nathan, like I think we can feel it right now is that we've kind of taken everything we really need, and we're just
Hmm.
now taking everything for fun. Me, I'm taking two classes on graphic design and user interface and that type of stuff. I'm taking an astronomy class that's new. Um, no, unfortunately, they won't let me into a geology class, so that was the saddest part. Wanted to at least get out of here, saying like I took a class about rocks, dude. That was crazy. But no, I'm gonna be learning about rocks outside the planet. That's close enough. But yeah, no, Nathan, I think let's start with you, right? Since we're both seniors about to get out of here, has your focus, from entering the fall and now the spring, has it changed? Right, heading into the semester, has it changed? Not even from this fall, but in the previous years, right? Has your focus changed, and if so, by how much, and for what reason?
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely talk a little bit about that. I'd say overall, my focus hasn't changed too much. I will say that, like, at least for the field that I'm in, like, I'm in biomedical engineering, dip my feet in some, like, deep learning stuff, computer vision stuff. Um, that sort of field kind of, there's always more you can learn about it. And you do really need to, I guess, have some more experience or take some extra classes, just at least from my background to kind of make up for um, the things that I wasn't, exposed to, like as a biomedical engineer. So overall, just expanding my knowledge, trying like new things, doing different research opportunities. I think the overall theme of just trying a lot of different shit, like that has not changed too much. Though between last semester and this semester, I will say that I was just a little bit ahead on my coursework. So because of that, I was able to uh, make some space for. A, I mentioned this a few times already, but make space for a Chinese one, um, and some other courses. I know there's a lot of people that graduate like a semester early as well. That and for those people that are kind of in that situation where you have a lot of extra credits, and you have the opportunity to graduate a little bit early, I would kind of recommend to maybe take some courses that you really think are really interesting. Um, so yeah, that was I don't know if went a little bit off.
No, no, no,
No,
no,
that's
no.
good.
It's good because so Nathan. So let me ask you this, right? Or have the courses you've taken so far in the past 4 years, have they been affected by your decisions, your choices on what you want to do afterwards? Because I know as a biomedical engineer, you have a lot of options. You can go like pre-med route, you can go into med school. So how would your courses change depending on what you want to do afterwards, and what is your plan afterwards if you have one? I know I don't have my plan. I don't know what I'm doing. But no, yeah, tell me more about the biomed process.
Right. So for biomedical engineers here at RPI, right, you have a few different tracks you can go down to, or go, pursue and still get your bachelor's. So the first track is the pre-med track. This means that you intend to go to med school. And the thing is that if you want to go to med school, you have to kind of know that as soon as possible. Once you decide you want to go to med school, you really don't have a lot of freedom in the courses you want to take. Like even if you, or at least from what I've seen, right, even if you come in undecided for like a semester, and then the next semester you decide, oh, I want to, you know, I want to go to med school, I want to do the pre-med track. You're gonna have some pretty rough semesters. So there's not a whole lot of freedom if you do decide to go down that route. But in the more typical engineering tracks, right, we have the biomaterials track, um, biomedical imaging and instrumentation track, and the biomechanics track. I know these kind of changed recently with the new freshman class. They have some different concentrations, but nonetheless, um, these are more typical engineering tracks. Um, and you will take courses in the relevant departments that you're interested in. So for me, I'm in the biomedical imaging and instrumentation track. So I'm taking a bunch of electrical engineering courses. I was able to squeeze in an electrical engineering minor, um, but in terms of me, like working strictly in biomedical devices, that's something that I actually don't or was not able to get a lot of experience. However, my skills were useful for some defense-related work. In the past year, last summer, I was in Atlanta working for the Georgia Tech Research Institute, doing some defense-related work there, working with autonomous vehicles, more deep learning algorithms. So I will say that as a biomedical engineer, that stuff is not extremely related to, biomedical device field, but there's certainly translatable skills. And, no matter what opportunity comes up, I just think it's important that you hit fast and hit hard with what you're able to get. So, in talking about like my plans once I graduate, I'm still in kind of like the job search process right now. But having my transferable skills in mind, I'm able to apply to a bunch of different positions. So that's so far I don't have an exact concrete plan as to what I'm going to be doing after graduation. But regardless, I think I'm in a pretty good spot to be able to make good choices or have those doors open.
Yeah, no, I wish I was in the same spot. I have no idea what I'm doing. But no, I mean it's good to know that you have those skills that you can definitely apply outside. I know a lot of people sometimes they would double down and focus super deep into a particular field or industry, but no, it's good that you diversified. I think that's important. Now, Eric, I'm gonna spin that same thing onto you. Tell me everything. Tell me everything.
Yes, sir. So this is about just progression of classes.
Well, it's more so like you as a mechie, right?
Oh, okay.
And as a mechie, like what made you, what are your feelings going into the semester, and
Mhm.
how are they different from your semesters in the past? Because since you're different from me and Nathan, who are about to graduate, you are smack dab about to hit the halfway point in your college career.
Yes, sir.
Right. So in the past, you've chosen your classes not because you like those classes, but more so the fact that they are required of you by the curriculum. Right.
Yes,
So
sir.
has that changed any at all? No. Or has that your feeling on what classes you're taking, what your schedule looks like, has that changed, or is it
Mhm.
still dictated by this is the curriculum, this is required, I have to follow it?
Good point.
That's
So
actually
that's my
nice.
question. But this is actually my last semester where I'm dictated to take certain classes, right? But I can definitely speak about, because right now I'm still in my second year and I actually just finalized what my path is going to be like for my last few semesters here at RPI. So just general idea, I'm pretty much going to be the same backstory as all of you other engineers out there, mechanical engineers. I know I like engineering, I know like math, science, STEM, all this stuff. I like robots, so like, all right, cool. Boom, mechanical engineering, that's that. But what really shaped my understanding of the curriculum at RPI really came from, exposure to certain lab classes that we've had at the intro level here in the current mechanical engineering curriculum. Uh, Obviously, going into this, I've had a lot of exposure to coding and mathematics, and so I'll talk about that a little bit as well. But in terms of the technical electives that I'm planning on taking right now as a mechanical engineer, it all, I guess, the big kicker came from taking EI, which is electronic instrumentation, and so that's kind of like our for whoever's not in EE and you need to take an electrical engineering course, this is your substitute, right? And so I got to play a lot with circuits, a lot with coding, a lot with a lot of analog circuits, all these different types of electrical circuits. I really had a lot of fun building these things. So realizing this, I decided to opt for a robotics leaning path. And as I mentioned before, I've been interested in robotics for the longest time. Ever I watched, I say one of my backstories is from Will Smith's I, Robot, the film, but I'm focusing on mechatronics now for the mechanical engineering path. And so what that means for us mechanical engineers is you basically take one specific mechatronics class, which is, you build robots, you design systems, you design lots of different cool projects. Obviously, I don't know a lot of it myself. I'm just planning on taking it next semester. But stuff like these intro level lab, I would definitely stress that pay attention in these classes and participate as much as you can about in these labs, in these ideas, because you never know what's going to pique your interest. You never know what's going to snowball and whatever you're going to, develop your concentration, because this is now what I'm developing my concentration into. So yeah, that's basically my outlook for just my mechanical engineering major.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. So more in depth, like how did you, and Nathan, you as well, like how did you choose, like this is what, at least this is the concentration, the field that I kind of want to get into, right? Because both of everyone's majors is so vast. Mechanical engineering, biomed, it's just so big. You can go into so many different fields. What helped you narrow down or give you inspiration on what you wanted to choose and what you wanted to do? Was there a particular event, a particular mentor who kind of showed you the ropes, a job that you had, an internship that really opened your eyes up? Like, what was it that pushed you into the route that you're currently on?
Yeah, I can talk about that first. So, just I guess this is very interesting because Eric, you mentioned that you're interested in taking mechatronics, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Wait, do you mean like the full like 3 credit mechatronics class, or
Yeah,
like the
I want to take the full 3 credit as well as the intro mechatronics. I want to take
like
both of them.
at the same time?
I know you're supposed to like do one before the other, but I'm trying to figure out my spacings right now.
Okay. Um, I mean, you'll figure it out once you get there. But I think just taking the 3 credit one is fine because there's a lot of overlap, at least in the first week. But yeah, so I took the 3 credit, you know,
Mechatronics
flip-flops
class.
mechatronics.
Yeah.
So I like your experience in EI or IE, I forgot which one.
EI.
EI, okay. Yeah, so you saw how that kind of, you know, influenced your passion in robotics until you want to take mechatronics. Right? But I just wanted to talk about, I guess, how I ended up taking mechatronics because it's a really cool class, regardless. Professor Hurst is the man. But so I'd say like the main reason why I took mechatronics was because of my experience at the Georgia Tech Research Institute. It's sort of like mechatronics is this sort of like a big picture class, right? You're working on all sorts of levels. Like you're working from mechanics or dynamics, and translating that into like an actual system using code, using
Electrical
circuits.
signals, circuits, yeah.
Yeah, and so like you need to have, the physical system along with the electronic system and then control that with the code and have all of those things working in like this full pipeline. So, just my experience at Georgia Tech, it kind of gave me that perspective, before like I didn't know much other than coding, but over there I was working with embedded systems, kind of similar, I guess, to what you took in your lab class. But there, just seeing the bigger picture, it kind of influenced my decision to take mechatronics. and I took the 1 credit class like a long time
Oh, okay.
ago. It was interesting. um, but yeah, like about the other experience that sort of like influenced my career path right now, I'd say a lot of it is not necessarily my professors. I will say that like if I were to redo um like my undergrad, I would definitely, you know, research my professors more, like understand them and what their interests are and talk to them more. But or like my lecturers.
Mhm.
But you know, my mentors in my undergraduate research experience, like here at RPI, for those of you who are like watching this and don't know what a undergraduate research experience is, there's like a program at RPI called like the URP program. It basically lets undergrads do some sort of research experience, you know, for credit or for pay. Depends on the professor, depends on the department. But if they're professors that do interesting research, definitely reach out to them. Um, most or some labs will be looking for undergrads, some won't. So you're gonna have to talk to them and see what's available. But it's definitely a great experience, and at least for me, I was able to really talk to a bunch of grad students and have like a mentor to kind of show me the ropes of like what does it mean to be like a graduate school student and what does it mean to work in a lab. Um, so do I want to work in a lab right now? I don't know, but I'd say the experience is definitely worth it. So those people that I was in contact with for that experience were definitely impactful here at RPI. Yeah, I don't want to go on for too long, but Eric, well, what about you?
Yeah, so it's actually very interesting because I'm currently, I guess thinking about this like long term. I'm sort of in the process of getting inspired. It's kind of a weird perspective. Like I've just kind of started figuring out my stuff, but not really. So I don't know if it's actually, looking back, I don't know if it's inspiration or not. But definitely in terms of how to get inspiration. Nathan, I completely agree with your idea about understanding your professors, and not only understanding your professors, but also understanding your advisors. Now, as a freshman, if any of you freshmen watching this right now, you get a hub advisor as your first year, uh, get off the get go sort of advisor, and then afterwards you get your actual major specific advisor. Now, all of these advisors have experience. All of these advisors have sort of connections that may or may not help you realize your own potential or realize what you're interested in yourself. Now, once you finish your first or second year, 100% sit down and talk with your advisors. I know a lot of advisors right now in this whole COVID situation are like, hey, the only time you need to talk to me is to finalize your schedule. But there's so much more to it than that. There's so much more for you to talk to them about your own interests, talk about their interests, sort of figure out what they've seen in terms of paths that students have taken in the past. Now, obviously, you don't have to follow the paths that these students have taken at all, but the point is finding these connections that these students have encountered, helping them shape their understanding of certain, research opportunities or projects. Because right now, I actually, because my advisor was just like that. He sent out a massive email to all of his students. He was like, "Hey, we don't really need to talk, so I'll just like let go of your samples and assume that you guys know what you're doing." And I felt like this kind of wishy-washy. Like having an advisor as an advisor is to advise you. That was advice a lot, but uh, if you have one of those advisors, definitely have the time, sit down, and talk to them. Because right now, because of him, recently we've been talking about these these projects with, with government officials, with sort of projects asked by other companies. I'm getting really, really interested, and we're trying to figure out a time for me to do research. Right? Nathan's already had his research. You've gotten to work at Georgia Tech Research Labs. This is huge in my opinion. I know, Nathan, you've also had the chance to work with, who was it, MathWorks, as an ambassador. But you got all these points of contact with experience, and that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. So definitely, if you're out there and you're trying to figure out where I go to figure these positions out, where can I learn about these opportunities, ask your advisor, research your professors, and definitely take the initiative, because these professors, they've spent, half of their life working on certain projects, half of their life working in the industry in some way, shape, or form. So they have all this stuff, they're just pent up, just waiting for you to ask them the right question. So definitely 100%. If you are trying to figure out your path, take the initiative, learn about your professor's paths, learn about their points of contact, learn about their connections, and you'll definitely have a strong base to go off of as an undergraduate student.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I think that's a great point there, Eric. But at least for, biomeds like me, right? Sometimes our advisors don't have the same career interests, right? Like I'm imaging and instrumentation. My my advisor is by all means a biomechanics person, interested in like clinical orthopedics and everything. And for that, like even though your advisor, your official advisor, is not, of the same interest, I think they're still very, very helpful. Either just to gain like an overall perspective, and even and sometimes they can even refer you to like another professor.
That's the one, yes.
This is the guy you want to talk to about XYZ. So in fact, my academic advisor was not really the person that gave me the most career advice. It was actually they pointed me to my research professor, and which I ended up doing research and everything, blah blah blah. So advisors definitely very useful to talk to.
So on that, right, on speaking of getting mentorship and getting advice, are there any other sources or resources that you could think of, at least on the RPI campus, or maybe even beyond, that you could recommend to someone, like you should check it out? I know if someone is interested in research, this is, way back when the world wasn't ending and we could still be on campus. I know they had a something similar to a career fair for research in the CBIS building. Nathan, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know if that was really a career fair. I think that
Oh,
was.
I don't know. It was like a research showcase or something, right?
Yeah. So there was like, I forgot what they called it, but it's basically like undergraduate research projects, like undergrads are able to present.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also showcases for graduate students as well. Though they don't only happen in CBIS. I think it kind of depends on the department. And so like information as to where all of those are happening it's not very central, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that your academic advisor would know about these events if you do show interest, right? Like
yeah,
you went up to him like, yo, I'm down to to look at things under a microscope, and you tell your professor that, okay, perfect. I know a guy that's hiring for you to look at stuff under a microscope. I know, but no, there are definitely a lot of opportunities on campus if you do want to get into something. You're bound to find it, either through a professor, an advisor from the administration, or through like mentorship through an upperclassman, a student or alumni. There's plenty of those, and honestly, one of the best ways is just joining student organizations, joining clubs and whatever, and meeting people who share similar interests and career paths, you could say. And you can mentor off of them, glean some stuff off. But no, I mean, I think the common theme here is that just get involved. You don't know what's out there unless you travel outside the honeycomb. Um, so I mean, it's honestly, it's a big world out there. There's not even outside of RPI as well. There's conferences for specific industries. There are people on LinkedIn, cold calling, cold messaging, I should say, people on LinkedIn. That is something very fun. I have recently started doing, and that has a huge amount of success that I did not anticipate. Like, can you imagine, just randomly, texting someone on LinkedIn saying like, "Hey, you have this job that I'm interested in, this career path I'm interested in. Let's chat. And I've messaged, around like 14 people. 10 of them have responded. I expected not a single one to respond back. They'll be like, who the hell is this guy messaging me out of nowhere? This. But no, they actually responded. So I mean, everyone says, "Oh, cold message people, cold email people," but sometimes it does work. You come at them with a right approach, with a nice, plucky attitude. Um, it gets you far. Yeah, surprisingly. But yeah, no. Speaking, no, moving on with this, right? Most people, most undergraduates finish their college degree in about 4 years, right? And of those people, a lot of them do mention like they had written out, either by themselves with a friend or with their advisor, a 4-year plan or
Uh,
more, a 5-year plan, a 6-year plan if they go into grad school, right? How the hell do you get started with that, right? Like, isn't that kind of scary? Just think about like 100, it was 128, 126 credits that you have to complete before you have to graduate. That's a lot of credits. And sometimes not people get intimidated, especially as a freshman. You don't know what the hell is going on. You don't know what to do. So in your experience, right, where would you find resources to one, know what courses you need to take, what are required, and how would you build it together? What would you do?
I guess I can speak about this because I'm coming right off the block, as they say, and I've just finalized my process for this. But number one, to make it easiest for yourself, 100%, to make it easiest for yourself to finalize a 4-year plan, join a club. Join a club or make friends that are in similar majors and they're also upperclassmen. They are going to be your real life connection to what these classes are. SIS and the Rensselaer course catalog can only take you so far as the requirements, prerequisites, and all that crap. What really matters is how people personally take the course and the things that they get out of a course. So in terms of figuring out which courses you want to piece together in your puzzle for the 4-year plan, 100% join a club and make a lot of upperclassmen connections. Because I made the mistake actually of creating my 4-year plan way too late. But a big thing that will help you save time later on, like me and Nathan here, we're trying to shove in Chinese 1. I'm trying to shove in a few technical electives, is figure out your 4-year plan early. Your freshman year, that's the safest plan. Because then you can start piecing together, all right, I have space for it. Interesting classes here, interesting classes there. But definitely join a club and make upperclassmen friends. Nathan, what do you have to say?
Right. So, I don't know. I do kind of have like a little not entirely opposite advice, but I will say for me, um, I honestly think that the class handbook is probably the most straightforward way to get
Oh,
started.
really?
Yeah, because they literally have a template for you. Like if
Mm.
you come in, with 0 AP credits, like this is what your courses are gonna look like, and then you just fill in the blanks with pre-electives stuff like that. But you know, there's a lot of unknowns. Like for example, how hard is that class? Like how much time does it take? Like for example, like light tech, right? All you EEs out there know what the heck I'm talking about. Like light tech does not mess around. It's a 4 credit class, but it might as well be 8 credits depending on your group. Um,
The same could be said about data structures. That was a
oh
doozer. That
yeah,
was a doozer.
exactly. That cell bio. I don't know about thermals and fluids, but I heard that that's pretty rough as well. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, is it rough, Eric?
I'm actually taking that right now. My first lecture is tomorrow.
All right, well, best of luck. Yeah, but there's a lot of these classes that if you just look at the handbook, you're like, I don't know how hard this is. And there's quite a wide amount of variability. So that's where I'd say like making upperclassmen friends, inquiring about the class. Um, those can definitely help you smooth out the kinks in your plan, but the overall structure is probably going to come from your handbook.
Mm.
Um, and So when it comes to higher level courses and elective courses, let's say higher level engineering courses in the 4,000 level that you want to take, um, some of like that's kind of or later on in your academic career, that's kind of when you'll find more scheduling issues, I'd say. So some courses are only available in the spring, some courses are only available in the fall. Sometimes the availability changes between years. So, you know, that's kind of um, that's another thing to keep in mind. So if you like when you make your 4-year plan as a freshman, um, don't worry too much if it's going to change. Like it doesn't have to be final at all. Uh, in fact, I was like I applied for the co-terminal program here at RPI, and I was making my graduate plan of study. And the person that was helping me with it was straight up like, yeah, this is very tentative. Most of the time, most of the time, graduate students, their plan of study will change, either from semester to semester, or if they want to switch into a different discipline, it's going to change. So it's very common for your plan of study to kind of um, change uh, as you become junior, senior, and onward. So if you're a freshman or sophomore, just make sure that you can graduate, and don't worry too much about the specifics, because as you get club experience, get research experience, get internships and stuff, your interests will definitely change. I did not anticipate myself, working in defense or defense related technologies. But that's what happened, and so my courses that I've been interested in have changed quite a bit.
So yeah, Nathan, I want to jump in on that, right? Let's talk about change. Everyone talks about change, very very easily, but I think at RPI it's really really easy to change disciplines, to change your focus, to change your concentration, even change classes, right? Speaking from experience, I've changed majors, what, three times, right? I came in originally as a CS major. Imagine me, code monkey in a closet, lights off, slamming away at my keyboard, typing away, at semicolons and quotation marks. Like, that's just insane. I came in, and first week, NRB, I remember, me and a good friend, Nathan, you would know, Steven, we bumped into an upperclassman and a professor. We just chatted for hours. Oh my God, for hours talking about IT. And the next day, both me and Steven went over to the IT department, got a request form, and that was literally it. That was all it took. You went, talked to the advisor, and she gave us each a form saying, okay, I need you to sign your name, get my signature, it's already on there, and get a signature from your current major's department letting you add this. And that was it, right? And then I'm like, okay, I just need to talk to this professor from the CS department, and that's it. I had him sign off, and that's how easy it was. That's how easy it was to get a dual major. And within a first week, I haven't even, done a single homework yet, right? Mainly because I was ignoring my homework. But that's how that was super easy. And I think I was very surprised because I heard ghost stories, horror stories from other schools. My friends saying like, oh yeah, no, trying to apply for a dual major is so hard. Changing majors is impossible. There's so many requirements, that you have to change. I'm like, oh really? I wouldn't know. And then following that, the first change, I dropped the major, added another one, and that whole process again was very very simple. And even I would suppose, like Nathan, like you just said, this is what you said sparked this, right? That even for graduate students, right? When you think, graduate school, getting a master's, that's a big deal. And for something like that to even, to be called, it's tentative, it's up in the air. A lot of graduate students, who are, attempting to get into graduate school, they don't really know what the hell is going on, right? And that is, I think, one of the better things about RPI at least, right? Is that you have a lot of freedom to do whatever the hell you want with your schedule, right? No, you guys were talking about in the 4-year plan. There are templates, yes, but you don't have to follow a template, right? At least for IT, we don't have to follow the template that's given to us. And I would assume that's the same for other majors. Of course, yes, there are required classes, but you can take them in any order that you would want. No, again, with the same friend, Steven, he took a capstone class originally intended for a senior levels. He took it as a junior, right? And I was baffled by that. I'm like, one, why would you do that to yourself? Two, why would you do that to yourself? And three, that's just no, right? Like, but still, I think RPI offers students a lot of freedom and a lot of flexibility when it comes to creating their own schedule. And I think that's one of the better things. Although, yes, it might impose some internal fear or confusion, just because freedom leads to a lot of confusion when you have so many options. But I would prefer this over another school where you have to follow this program, this schedule, right? That's scheduled all the way up until senior year, and you can't really be flexible with it, right? And I think this is one of the better parts about the school. But what do you guys think? Any comments on that? What you
Um,
laughing about? What you
I ha
laughing about?
I have some intense. I guess I have some biases here, but Nathan, please go first as I
No, no,
gather
no,
my
no, no.
thoughts.
Hold on. Biases. Let's hear this. You have my interest now. What do you mean bias?
Okay. Um, Fine. I guess I'll go. So I am I like learning. Right. High school, coming to RPI, I was planning on doing a mechanical engineering and physics dual major. And those of you watching this video right now, you understand the difference between these two schools in Rensselaer. You know that it's going to take you at least 5 years to accomplish. So I went with you. I went similarly to you, Wesley, with jumping around majors, but I didn't sign any forms. It was just me internally debating. I went from physics dual majoring with mechanical engineering to physics minoring in mechanical engineering with my mechanical engineering minoring physics and math. But what helped me figure out my process was the fact that everything's so flexible. You know, the whole outline thing, that whole 4-year plan, there's a lot of empty space for you to fill in case you want to learn things in other departments. And what I ended up doing was I shoved all of my math classes into my first semester. I finished it. First semester, it's done. My second semester, I then dove into computational mathematics and advanced calculus. And I started figuring out like, okay, if I can't do physics, maybe I'll do some sort of like, math coding, because I like math, I like coding. So I found this branch out of nowhere. It came out of, I think it was like a finals exams week, and I was talking some banter with the professor. He's like, hey, you should try out computational mathematics. And I was like, okay. And so I registered for that class, as just my one outlier out of all my core engineering classes. And then from that, it's grown into a minor. And it's not dissimilar to a dual major, because with a minor, all you got to do is have your courses, have 2 people sign it, you're done. That's a minor. That's it. That's all you got to do. It takes maybe a day, maybe 2 days, depending on how fast your professors can read their emails. But what I want to say is this: if you are interested in anything, linguistics, if you're interested in other parts of different other majors, try them out. Try out those classes, right? You'd rather have the experience and make decisions based off of your experience than making a decision based off of a lack of experience. Okay, so dive into it, risk it. You're gonna appreciate the risk because it's gonna help you later on. So yeah, that's my piece of advice.
I mean, well said, Eric. Well said.
I know that was a lot. Sorry.
That felt more like a rant than anything.
I mean, for me, like my perspective of changing majors and just kind of exploring like the academic, all these courses you could take, right? I think we're all on a budget. If you come in with AP credits, you have a slightly larger budget than other people. But, you know, um, when it comes to taking courses that you want to take, those will most likely fill your free electives, if they do satisfy it, that is. Or, you're just going to have to take extra credits that are not applied to your degree. I will say that, like, for BMEs from my graduating year, like, we were not allowed to dual major in another engineering department. So
Really? Why is that?
my advisor told us that they were having a lot of people who could not graduate on time because of scheduling conflicts.
I see.
So
Okay.
for my year, we were not allowed to dual major. So for me, I'm a BME and a minor in electrical engineering. I could not dual major in electrical engineering because, they just wouldn't let me. As I mentioned before, when it comes to pre-meds, pre-meds do not, or the med schools do not accept AP credits for the most part. So you are very much locked into your schedule if you decide to go down that career path. But the budget that you have, like the number of free electives you have, the number of credits you feel comfortable taking, learn to manage that. I'd say don't bust it all in like one semester where it's like, oh man, I want to take this rock class, this geology class, and I want to take the geology and the astrology class, and the medieval studies class, man.
Well, damn, Nathan, you really diversifying now. Damn.
Like
This was a call out.
if you want to take all of those classes, my advice is to kind of like spread it out, and the template that you're given does give you some free reign in spreading things out. So there is like a reason why this template is kind of like the way it is. Like some classes that you need are put next to or classes that you need with each other kind of put together. And then there's some breathers throughout to help you with that process. So as for me, like, would I want to be changing majors as a biomedical engineer? I would say not really. I mean, if I was really interested in, let's say, mechanical engineering, right, I would transfer in as a freshman. But if I was a sophomore, I'd kind of hesitate a little bit. If I really thought the workload was manageable, I would do it. But if not, I would kind of avoid that. But at least for biomedical engineers, like, we're kind of a very interdisciplinary field. Like, we take classes that are in other departments, other engineering departments, because of our concentrations. So for a mechanical engineer to transfer to biomedical engineering is probably a bit easier than a BMed going into mechanical, depending on what year you're in. Obviously, first, second years, like, very common stuff you're learning. But even at the end of your second year or the beginning of your second year, you start seeing a little bit of diversification there, or specification there, where your major really comes in. And once you start taking those classes, right, you need to really think about, okay, what is my credit budget now? If I really do want to take another major, what's the overlap there, right? So for Wes, you did you came in as CS, right, and you wanted to do IT, right?
That's correct.
Major and stuff. So those two fields, there's like some overlap between the courses, right?
Yeah, you could say there is.
Yeah. So that made your transition a bit easier. It made the expense of switching majors not as difficult. And you kind of had like some experiences that kind of helped, some experiences from your previous major that helped you into your new one. So between similar fields, go ahead, try different things. But if your field is vastly different, I would just make sure that you're able to graduate on time.
Right. but
Yeah.
it's not always, 4 years isn't everyone's plan, right? Some people would do instead of a dual, right? There's something I don't know if you know. It's a double major, where you get basically two diplomas instead of one. You do two undergrad studies, and that's just vastly different. Where a dual, there's overlap, and you get a singular diploma. But doubles, they can take up to what 5 6 years to graduate.
That's
And
insane.
there's
That's
no
insane.
shame, even if you're doing a single degree, and it takes you 5 6 years. There's it. No matter how long it takes, you'll get there. But it's just the most people want to get the hell out of here as fast as possible. And in building on getting out of here as fast as possible, let's talk about how many the credits that you would take, because that is very important as well. Especially if you are trying to do a dual, you are trying to do a very intensive major. Some people would add up on the credits. For me myself, every single semester after my first semester here, I've taken 20, 22 credits. Albeit some of those were retakes of classes, but if I really wanted to, right, I could have graduated this past semester with just an econ degree and said, no, the hell with it. No, I'll just be a pure econ and forget my IT. Um, and it's completely doable if you think about it, right? If you start out, singular major, every semester you do 16 credits. I think that's the standard. You would be able to finish in
Mhm.
4 years. But if you take, just 2 years, your sophomore and junior year, both semesters, then you take 20, you could graduate a semester early, right? So, what was, your crazy credit story? Like, what was the most amount of credits you've taken that was just like, man, this is painful? Like, how would you deal with it? How would you schedule yourself around having a high credit semester? And of course, hopefully, knock on wood, 2 out of 3 people here are very academic focused. I'm not going to call out the third one because it's me. But for those of you, who are academically focused, you are most likely considering taking 20 credits for one semester, 22, 24, even beyond, right? Like, how do you manage that, right? A crazy semester schedule.
Um, let's see. My crazy semester story. Honestly, like I was lucky enough to come in with enough AP credits that I was able to kind of spread disastrous classes apart. I kind of deviated from the plan there in kind of spreading some things out. So, um, but there's some people that for financial reasons, you really want to graduate early, or just for mental reasons, like, gosh, RPI sucks. I need to get out of here. Um, and so, yeah, there is this temptation to take like a lot of classes, and there's this desire to take a lot of classes. Um, so like for me, I never really had that hectic semester experience. Though I will say there were certain courses that made the normal semester very, very bad. Um, LITEC, for example. Actually, like I had a great group for LITEC,
Oh, okay. You
so
don't find that very
it
often.
wasn't even that bad. But I remember for my undergraduate research here in Professor Intez's lab, I had to present at the undergraduate research. Forgot what they called it, but the annual presentation there where you get to kind of show off your project along with everyone else in sort of like this poster symposium style. Undergraduate research symposium, that's what it's called.
Oh,
Um, so that was horrible. I like stayed, you know, um, many hours, long nights in my research professor's lab. I didn't go back to the dorm or anything. Just kind of camped out there, uh, you know, working on that on my research, getting results, trying to put everything in a poster presentation. But you see, for that experience, I wasn't even getting credit for that. I was actually getting paid for that, but it's not that much, like minimum New York wage, but still. Um, that was sort of like my my experience.
Mhm.
It was a crazy amount of work, and it comes really fast. It's like all of a sudden, you're 3 weeks away from the presentation, and you now need to pull an entire presentation out of thin air. Um, so instead of like it being a constant grind throughout the semester, it was just like this one period of absolute insanity. Um, but yeah, I don't know if you have any better, I guess, more generic 21 credit stories, Eric.
So I guess before I say what I'm about to say is please keep yourself mentally in check. Know yourself, know your own mental and emotional capacity. Like you don't ever like your mental health comes first when it comes to your daily life. It's not your academics. It's your mental health first. But off of that, um, I decided when I came to RPI to really test out the waters. I feel like there's a lot of stuff at my old town that I just felt like it just relatively restrictive and relatively toxic. I'm not gonna no names or anything or things, but I decided to really test out the waters. Um, you're given a final say in anything. When you register for classes, you're capped at 22, right? Is it 22? You can register for 22 by yourself with
I think it's
no one else.
24. It's 24.
No, but 23 and 24, you need to sign the form then.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you need to
Yeah,
sign the form. Okay, yeah.
like you don't need to talk to a single adult. 22 credits, you fill that up, no one can talk to you. Doesn't matter. You have final say no matter what. So my advisor kept on pushing me towards the 16 credit course load, and she was like, "No, just tell it's your first semester, freshman here. Relax, relax. You got so much time to chill out." But I was like, "No, I really want, I really want to get on a running start, right? If you're a freshman right now and you really want to get a good understanding, go for it. Go for the 18 credit. Go for the 20 credit. I took 21 credits my first semester here at RPI. It was fun. You know, uh, it was definitely getting my ass off the couch kind of work. It was a good amount, but it's really helped prepared me for sort of the ambitious projects that I want to take on during my classes and also in my personal time during my undergraduate time at RPI. Definitely test out the waters first, because remember, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. The drop deadline for the classes is like 2-3 weeks before finals. It's
That is
very
correct. That is correct. Yep.
I think it's 3 weeks before finals.
Actually,
But
wait, is it? I think it's a little. It's around. No, no, that's pass no credit.
oh, okay.
That's
Then what
pass no
about
credit.
drop?
Drop is a little bit early. It's about like halfway, I'd say, because I remember the drop deadline is like always a week before homework 6 in data structures, and that's when a lot of kids would die,
Oh, okay.
right? So
Okay.
it's drop is halfway through, add
Okay.
is 2 weeks in, but
Uh-huh.
pass no credit is like 3 weeks before finals.
Yeah, no, the first two are what I want to highlight, the add and the drop deadline. Adding, right, is very, very quick. It's 1-2 weeks because once you're behind by 1-2 weeks, it's going to be impossible for you to catch up. My advice for you is take as many credits as you want to mentally handle, all right? And then drop it at a later time, right? That's very, very easy to drop. You literally just talk to your advisor, say goodbye to your professor over a semi-professional email, and just boom, it's good on. It's out of your way. So definitely, in my advice, is try out classes first and register for officially rather than wait a few weeks and then try to register back on. Because you're always going to have the ability to drop a class before around that halfway point. And
Hmm.
this is where you have the opportunity to understand yourself as a student, understand yourself as a worker, understand your capacity for distribution of work. And so, yeah, that's my that's my big
Absolutely.
brain advice for working with lots of
Would
credits.
yeah, I would
That
agree
did
with that.
remind me of something, if I
Oh
may
yeah,
add.
was it?
This is a slightly unethical,
Uh-oh.
approach. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
slightly unethical.
Uh-oh.
He's busting out the
However,
unethical.
however, so if this depends on the class, I don't know which classes or which professors, use LMS specifically or use Piazza specifically or when they enroll you in the class exactly. But if you like want access to a class's material, but you don't want to take the class, you can, sign up for the class, register for the class, and have your professor enroll you in all the materials and stuff, and then drop. Like, it's there, they're not, unless your professor scrubs you out of, the class, like,
This is some
I
top
doubt,
tier criminal, Nathan. God
which I
damn.
doubt, is gonna happen. Um, you know, just you have those materials there. However, you also need to keep in mind, like, is this class something that a lot of people want? Is this class in high demand? Are you just like screwing this? Are you screwing
The system
someone else,
up, yeah.
on the wait list? But if for those classes out there with like 200 seats or something, you just want those lecture slides, like, go ahead. Slightly unethical.
I want to add. Sorry, Wesley. I'm gonna add.
No. I mean, but the thing is, I can't you also like audit classes? Is that a thing at RPI that you can just sit in at them? Right? I think that's a
Yes.
thing.
And in person, when this is operating, I only know the in-person technicals of this, but you're able to audit a class at Rensselaer with the permission of the instructor, I'm pretty sure. What that means is you literally audit it. What auditing class means is you can do everything, you're given access to everything, but you're not paying for the class. You are not graded for the class. You don't have an official transcript section for that class. You're learning. And so for me, this is the one thing I did try to capitalize on as much as I could, because my undergraduate career started off with half in person, and then it transitioned immediately to online. And so going back to what Nathan said, the whole dropping in class, I didn't take it that I have followed a similar path, but I didn't take it that way. Besides these two paths, what Nathan did with dropping and auditing, the third path you can take is what I have been calling it piggybacking. So my first semester COVID summer, right? I was planning on doing summer arch early, but I decided not to. So I had a whole summer of just, sitting at home like a bum. So instead of sitting at home like a bum, I decided to ask my friends to give me access, my upperclassmen friends. Of course, you have to ask them for permission first to give me access to their LMS accounts. And from there, I would join their lectures, I would join their projects, I would try to help out and exam studying, and then I work on all the worksheets, all the stuff materials that they provided in the class, but there was no existence of me being in the class at all. So if you want to learn material, there are many, many ways for you to learn material. There's many, many ways for you to pick up stuff along the way without having to go all the way as to register officially for a course and pay full tuition for everything. So yeah, that's my cup of tea on this.
very, very well said. Very well said.
Auditing is much more ethical.
Auditing very much is the most ethical.
Can confirm. But with that, we are out of time. Nathan. Yeah, no, I'm not. We're cutting a little bit close right here. But if anyone else would love to hear some more advice, please feel free to join and hit us up on our Discord, on our Facebook Messenger group, and ask anyone any question, as all of our upperclassmen, even our underclassmen, have a lot of experience and advice in these areas, right? Nathan and Eric, thank you guys so much for participating and joining me today in this podcast. It's been lovely having you. It's been absolutely wonderful advice that you have given, and hopefully, yeah, of course. A special shout out and special thank you to our sponsors, Boeing and wow, also was Boeing. Wow, tongue-tied. Boeing said, thank you so much for your sponsorship. It's been absolutely wonderful to have, and without your backing, this would not be possible. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a like and leave a comment down below. What are your spring success goals that you have for this coming semester? Let us know down below. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and we will see you next episode. Bye-bye now.
Bye.